anglersenvy.com. We're back. The next step in the process that we're going to be doing now is the butt wraps. As you can see, I've already gotten 4 of the 5 rods done that we're doing on this build, and I'm going to save the last one and go through that in a step-by-step process with you guys and let you see what's involved and how we do it. What this is a 3D box chevron that I'm doing on these stand-up tuna rods. It's got nice depth to it and nice angles, and I'm going to show you how to give it a 3D effect. It's a little bit more advanced in the chevron phase. There are a lot of people who do a lot of closed wrap weaves, which means there's absolutely no under wrap at all under there, and it's all covered with thread. I prefer to keep it open and keep it a little bit lighter, simply because what I'm trying to do here is actually dress up the abalone veneer a little bit and make it look a little flashier. I'm just trying to dress it up a little bit, and I want to bring out the beauty of the veneer, not hide it and cover it all up. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to get a blank set up, and we're going to go through spacing, and this is going to be a thumbnail view. I've got probably 4 or 5 minutes that I can go through on spacing, and then I'm going to get started on the wrap. This wrap takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to do. It's all done with individual threads. So what I'm going to teach you guys how to do here is actually pull multiple threads at one time. It's a little bit more advanced, but it's the way I do my wraps. I pull up to 4 threads at a time. I can pull 8 or 9 if I want to. I've got a box set up back here, and I'll show you that right now. But what I do with all of these, you can see that I've got the, this is just a regular Calcutta lure box here, and what I do is I actually almost pan in just a little bit so you can see it. But what I do is I have all my threads stacked in here. So I've got all my silvers, blues, red, green, black, gold, whatever, and they're all stacked, and they all come through individual holes. So with these individual holes, and you really can't see it, but I'll pull this over here so you can. Right up here, with these individual holes, it brings the thread through in an orderly fashion, and you can see right here with these black threads, I'm pulling through all 4 threads at one time. If I stack 2 of these boxes on top of each other, then I've got 8 threads that I'm pulling. So all threads come through, and you can see on my finger, these threads are all in line and right in line. So it makes the wrap go a little bit quicker. So we're going to get set up here with the other blank, and I'm going to introduce you to the Pit Boss cam that I set up for this. I never thought that doing all these videos would be so in-depth, but we even have ceiling cameras now, so stay tuned for the Pit Boss cam. Okay, we're back. Welcome to the Pit Boss cam. You're looking down from the ceiling, looking down directly over top of my work. What we've got here is the blank that we're going to be putting the butt wrap on. And what we're going to do now is go through layout, and again, this is going to be a thumbnail sketch. There are entire books that are written on how to do this the proper way, and I'm just going to give you a real quick and easy explanation for what I'm doing. I can't get into all the details on this because there are entire books that are written on it. Putting a butt wrap on a rod is not as easy as just going along a straight line on top of the blank. The reason being is because the outside diameter of the blank at this end, down here closest to the butt wrap, or to the winding check, is larger than the outside diameter of the blank up here. So if you remember back into geometry, you have pi times the radius squared. Your radius is larger down at this end than it is up here. So you're going to have 2 different numbers. What that translates into with your butt wraps is that the spacing would show up differently. So what you need to do is to be able to accommodate for that. So without going into all the math and doing it all for you, because it would take an hour and it would put half of us to sleep, because I fell asleep in geometry the first time, so I know you guys would the second time. What we have here is a butt wrap tool. And what I've done is I have a piece of tape for every single rod blank that I do, and I keep this with my menu in my menu book. But what I have here is the spacing that I use for these rods, and it's pretty darn close to being consistent. It's within probably a millimeter or so, given the different variations of rods. But it's very simple. What this tool does is lays down onto the rod blank, and then I take a magic marker that is going to be hidden by the butt wrap itself. So once that's down tight onto the rod, what I do is go and in a straight line make a mark. So those 4 dots, or excuse me, 5 dots are going to be my 5 intersecting points that go up the rod. You're not going to be able to see that with the camera because it's hard for me to even see just sitting right here looking on top of it. So that's at the 0 degree axis. This is the top of the rod. This is where the fishermen are going to be looking the entire time when they're fighting a fish. So now I'm going to turn the rod over and go to the 180 degree axis. 180 degree axis will be the dead bottom of the rod. What I will do is put a set of corresponding marks at the same spot underneath the rod. That gives me my 4 intersecting points on the bottom side of the rod. By doing that, I now am able to do what is called a 2-axis wrap. If I want to do a 4-axis wrap, I would actually come back over here to just remember looking at a compass. You have 0, 90, 180, 270, and then back to 360, which is 0. I've put one at 0 degrees and one at 180. If I wanted to do a 4-axis wrap, I would put one at 270 and one over at 90. That would give us our 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. That would be your 4 axes that we would do. What that does is it actually will make it'll, of course, by having 4 axes, you're not only doubling the size of the wrap, but what you have to be able to do is stagger your spacing that goes onto the rod blank. So you can see here I have those marks. If I was doing a 4-axis wrap, what I would have to do is take a measurement of these 2, cut that in half, and move this tape down to here so that they would be absolutely in the middle of the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock line of dots that I put down on the blank. So what I'm going to do here is a 3D chevron. A chevron is half of a diamond wrap. So what that means is all of my wraps are going to be going up and down the blank the same way. If you remember, I talked to you earlier about putting the blue tape onto the rod. This is where it really comes into play and is really helpful because it won't leave any marks on the grip. The thread marks won't show up on the grip. So what I'm going to do here is search out my dots, and I'm going to start going up the blank just to the right of each of these dots. Keeping my hand at a constant angle. I'm not waving around a lot. I'm not doing a lot of movement. The more steady you can keep your hand, the more constant of an angle that you're going to have when you're doing your butt wraps. So I'm coming back and intersecting along the same set of dots back to the beginning. So I've